To access the learning content on a virtual learning environment is easy. Just go back to the website and log in as before. I've already logged in here, so I can go directly to the course, which I will click, and this takes us into this particular area. Now, once I'm logged into the course, I can look at my grades and my own profile. I can jump to different sections of the material, for example. I'm going to scroll back to the top. If I just want to show one particular area, this is about good housekeeping and so on, I can click this little button here, look, which just sort of closes up the screen so that only this particular unit shows at that time. That's just a useful way of making it easier to navigate. I'll open that one back up again by clicking it once more. You can see it lists out everything once again. There are a few features, like for example a toolbox that we can click here and just click on the name of a tool, for example, over at this side, and it shows a picture. Just a quick easy reference source. Follow back up the breadcrumb trail here to the general course, and I'm back where I started. There's also a glossary. This particular glossary takes you to a separate web page whereby you can click on the letter and scroll down, so you can always search down this particular list, for example, for magnitude, main bearings, mainline pressure, all these sort of things that you'd expect to find in an automotive glossary. A really good feature, however, is that you can also select the language, so I can change it into Spanish, for example. As I change it into Spanish using Google Translator, I have exactly the same list now, but everything's translated, so you can choose your own language. A useful feature, I hope. Anyway, we'll get rid of that one. And you might find some other links appear from time to time here that are useful. So let me sort of scroll down the page a little bit and have a look at some of the things that we've got down here. This particular unit is about chassis systems and, for example, suspension, steering, brakes. And to access the learning material, it's just a matter of clicking on one of these links. These links take you through, in this case, to some basic learning about brakes. And up comes a screen in that way. Now, there is a voiceover going on all of the time, but I've muted it so that he doesn't interrupt me. Okay, now to click on the different links down here just takes us through to the different learning screens. So I click that one, and it takes a few seconds only to load them up. And I can show this as a very simple animation, not much to it obviously, but we roll over the numbers and the little labels pop up in different ways like that. The best way to work through the list, of course, is from top to bottom, because we've set that up in the right order to work through. But it's perfectly possible to jump through in any way that you think will be useful. I'll just go on to this one on brake pads. You can see we can scroll through different images in this case, and you can run a simple animation and so on. Okay, so a nice easy way to work through the system like that. I can just now jump back to the course from there. And I can scroll down and choose whichever particular one I want to look at, like Introduction and Operating Cycles on an engine, and go onto that screen, for example. That shows a nice video. Now, clearly a good thing to do here is to be looking at the animation and seeing what's going on. We're, of course, listening to the narration that's going on in the background, and we can click the T button that shows the text that's been narrated. The L button, if it's available, shows labels on the screen. A few different things we can do that will be useful. You can right-click and zoom in. When you zoom in, you can sort of move it around and look at certain things in more detail. Or we can right-click and zoom back out again. We can bring out the text. You can right-click on the text and zoom in and move that around so that that's easier to read if necessary. Once again, right-click, zoom back out again, and close the text. So a really good tip is to make sure that you work through the learning on each screen until you're completely comfortable, then move on to the next one. Now, a really good way to interact with any of these learning screens is to add some annotations and labels and this type of thing. Now, there are a number of different facilities available for doing this, but I've included one that you can download. It's completely free software, so you can download it and install it, or some computers have similar programs already built in. Anyway, let me just show you how this works. If I just go back to ATT, you can see we've got a link here to download this program. It's actually called Greenshot. If I click on this link, and I'm going to save the file, and I'm just going to click OK, and it saves that file for me. and now I can double click on there and open up that particular program. If I extract this, because it's just a zip file, extract this. To keep it simple, I'm going to extract it onto my desktop in a folder called Greenshot, like that. And as you'll see in just a second, it's opened up that in a folder that we can now run. Okay, I'll just close down some of these things. So we open up that folder, there's a little program in there, and all you need to do is double click on it, and apparently nothing happens. But if you look down in the bottom corner now, you will see the little Greenshot icon has appeared under there. Okay, or it will appear within this list also. Now, if we can go to this program and just right click on it and choose Preferences. When we've chosen Preferences, click Image Editor. So what happens here, when we've taken a shot from the screen, it automatically allows us to edit it and just say, okay, that's it. We can get rid of all of this. Let's go back to our learning now and click somewhat randomly here. I'll scroll down and go back into some kind of learning on the course somewhere. Here we go. Oh, I'll go back to the engine operating cycles because that was a nice screen to be looking at. Let's go to one right down at the end here. Okay, we just go over to here, choose from the options to capture a region, or you can just hit the print screen, the print button there. So capture the region, and you can see how I get an option there to drag around that particular area. So I'll just capture that one. It takes me through to the program here where I can do a few things. I can kind of, use that to sort of highlight an important area. I can sort of draw squares on it if I want, or if I use that same tool, I can sort of add little lines coming off the side here like this, just by keeping basically just a very thin box. And we'll do another one sort of over here, something like that. And then we can add text. So I can add camshaft, for example. No, nothing too complicated here, but I can add these words up here. And I'll just sort of stretch that out a little bit, and then we can add that in that way. Okay, if I don't want that one anymore, I can just literally select it and delete it, select that one and delete it. I can click on that line and sort of move it around into different places. So I've decided I want that over there, and you can add labels and so on. You can see the idea of how you can create this kind of work. Now, when all this is completed, it's usually a good idea to either save it as a file or perhaps edit and copy the whole thing to the clipboard. Then you can take it away and paste it into Word documents or anything else like that. But the key thing is to find some way of interacting with the learning screen. Let me close this one down and get rid of it. Let me show you one more thing that works really well with this. Bring out the text, right click on the text and zoom into the text. Just move it over so it fits nicely on the screen. Go across and once again fire up the Greenshot program saying capture a particular region like that, and I can just drag on this text in that way, select all of that text, takes it through to here, and using the rectangle feature I can highlight key areas. So we can highlight, for example, that the main areas are, or the main of the 4 strokes are induction, compression, power and exhaust. Or as we put here, look, suck, squeeze, bang, blow. But again, you can see how this focuses you in on the learning. Okay, enough about that. Just click there, and of course on this screen we can now go to show all. We can close the text down, move on to the next screen in any way that we want. Okay, and that's it, accessing the learning screens.